Okay, I don't have much time, so let's get straight to the point. There are two central elements you need to understand in order to truly grasp Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. The first is the opening line of the mother figure, played by Jessica Chastain. There are two ways through life, the way of nature and the way of grace. You have to choose which one you'll follow. To understand this, we should take a closer look into the title of the film. In the book of Genesis, we find the tree of life that represents God's own life and divine nature that He freely wants to share with us, His creatures, by inviting us to feed from this divine tree and receive through it the grace for eternal life. But there's also the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which represents our desire to take for ourselves what only God fully understands, the secrets and full understanding of the cosmos, how good and evil relate, and how everything works and fits together. When we try to claim this knowledge, we place ourselves in God's seat, and by disobeying Him and eating from the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, Adam and Eve are denied real life and cut off from God's divine tree of life. This foundational event reveals something essential. There's a rupture between the creature and the Creator, between us, human beings, and God. In other words, in the cosmos we live in, there are two driving forces, both around us and within us, nature and grace, that are out of balance inside us. What the movie invites us to do is to contemplate, by symbolically showing a tree planted and growing in the backyard, in a second more intimate meaning behind the film's title, the development of life in a family, and how these two forces, grace and nature, shape and drive this family's life. And the way Malick begins to tell this particular family's story brings us to the second key element we need to understand, the opening quote of the movie, from the book of Job. "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? While the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" This is part of God's great speech to Job, the faithful and the righteous servant of God. A man who had everything, prosperity, status, a large family, everything one could ask for in this world. And then, suddenly, out of nowhere, in the blink of an eye, he loses absolutely everything: his wealth, his business, his home, and most importantly, all of his children. In the midst of unspeakable suffering, Job challenges God: justify yourself. Explain yourself. Why did you allow so much evil? This is the same question asked by the mother portrayed in the film. Wondering whether her prayer was ever truly heard, she faces what is arguably the greatest pain a person can experience in this world. For a parent to lose a child, it breaks the natural order of life. She embodies one of the deepest dilemmas of human existence, our powerlessness in the face of pain and life's harsh contradictions. And so, the film invites us to reflect: how do the eldest son, the mother, and the father deal with the sudden, unexpected evil that strikes their lives?
Lord, why? Where were you? Did you know? Who are we to you?
For the surprise and astonishment of the audience, the answer to this deep question comes in the form of a 20-minute cosmic sequence. Because, as the quote from the book of Job suggests, in order to even begin to understand the answer, we have to start seeing reality in a whole different way. We must try to see as God sees. We can't fully grasp God, the order of the universe, nor the forces that shape our lives. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? That's the point. We can't understand what God is about. That's why Malick takes us on an elaborate, awe-inspiring tour of the cosmos, filled with strangeness, complexity, beauty, and mystery. He is trying to give us a glimpse of God, the cosmos he made, and the creation of our world, showing how these two forces, nature and grace, are intertwined since the beginning of the earth, running through all of creation and through every human life. The beginning of the planet, cellular division, a jellyfish rising like a ballet dancer to the surface of the ocean. Scene after scene, the film becomes a kind of a contemplation and visual meditation on the universe itself. Nature is harsh, competitive, violent, raw, as shown when the stronger dinosaur dominates the weaker one. Grace is love, forgiveness, compassion, gentleness. The moment lava meets the ocean and forms steam, that's a beautiful metaphor for these two forces meeting and creating something new. Malick shows us that all these forces are not in random opposition, they are, somehow, part of God's providential plan. He allows the play of nature and grace, of harshness and mercy, competition and compassion, in order, meaning and dimension that we simply can't fully comprehend. And lastly, love, real human love, is presented as the beautiful harmony, the life that is generated by the union of two baptized children of God. This is when the film returns, to the relief of some viewers, to a more traditional, linear storytelling centered on the life of the family. As symbolized by the tree of life planted in the backyard, we'll witness the development of life within this family, a life shaped and driven by the way of nature and/or the way of grace, seen through the perspective of the eldest son. He sees in his mother the representation of the way of grace, which leads to love, service, gentleness, lightness, and beauty. Meanwhile, the father represents the way of nature, raw strength, and maybe even selfishness. While the mother and father embody these two forces for their son, they're also each living out their own journeys with nature and grace within themselves, and what you will see in the movie is these characters struggling to follow the way of grace, or letting the way of nature rule their lives. Now you can understand most of the movie while you watch it, but if you want to see the full breakdown and complete explanation of Malick's masterpiece, just watch our next video. Thank you.